We don't often think about the power that objects can hold over us, especially something as seemingly innocent as a doll. But what if I told you that the dolls you might have grown up with, the ones you've cherished and displayed, could actually be conduits of spiritual energy that can either uplift or drain you completely? Yes, the very dolls we think of as nostalgic could be slowly sapping our positive energy, leaving us spiritually weakened and unaware. Imagine this: you walk into a room and feel a sudden change in the atmosphere. It's subtle, but undeniable. You might chalk it up to a bad mood or a stressful day. But what if that shift in energy wasn't about you at all? What if it was caused by an object, perhaps a doll sitting quietly in the corner, seemingly lifeless, yet brimming with hidden energies you can't see?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
You see, dolls have long been considered vessels. Throughout history, in various cultures, dolls were not just toys. They were symbols, representations, and sometimes even believed to be protectors or spiritual guides. But what happens when these symbols turn dark? When their energy becomes tainted or misaligned with ours, they no longer protect, they begin to drain us. I know this might sound far-fetched, but let's think deeply about this for a moment. Why is it that certain objects like dolls, mirrors, or old furniture often make us feel uneasy? Could it be that they hold on to the energy of their surroundings, the people who own them, or even the places they've been? How many times have you felt a strange discomfort around something you couldn't explain? It's not paranoia. It's a subtle spiritual interaction. Dolls, by their very nature, mimic life. They have eyes, faces, and forms that resemble us. This human likeness can act as a magnet for spiritual energy, and sometimes the wrong kind of energy. Have you ever looked into the eyes of a doll and felt something unsettling? That feeling isn't just psychological, it might be spiritual. A doll can become a spiritual sponge, soaking up all the negativity in a space. And unfortunately, once it's full, it has nowhere to release that energy but onto you. The concept of energy transfer is not new. Spiritual practitioners have long spoken about the energy that exists in all things. Everything, from the food we eat to the people we surround ourselves with, has an energetic impact on us. So why wouldn't the objects in our environment have the same effect? It's essential to recognize that energy is always moving, always shifting. And if you're not careful, you could find yourself in an environment where the energy is being drained from you rather than supporting you. Here's where it gets even more profound. Sometimes dolls can act as anchors for spiritual entities. These entities are often drawn to the human likeness and may use the doll as a point of attachment. It's a way for them to remain connected to our world, and once that connection is made, they can begin to siphon the energy of those around them, especially those who are spiritually sensitive or unaware. Have you ever felt inexplicably exhausted after spending time in a particular room? Maybe you find yourself mentally drained after being around a specific object for too long. You might notice that the air feels heavier, or you experience strange dreams that you can't quite explain. This could be the subtle yet powerful impact of spiritual energy being drained from you by an object in your space. Think about it. How often do we cleanse our spaces, our environments, from a spiritual perspective? We clean our homes physically, but how often do we clear out the negative energy? This is why many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of ritualistic cleansing, whether it's burning sage, using crystals, or performing prayers. It's not just superstition, it's a spiritual practice meant to rebalance the energy of a space. But what happens when we neglect these rituals? What happens when we allow energy-draining objects, like dolls, to remain in our homes unchecked? Over time, the energy depletion becomes more noticeable. You may start to feel constantly tired, unable to focus, and emotionally overwhelmed. It's as if the life force within you is being slowly siphoned away. Let's pause here for a moment. Have you ever asked yourself why certain places or objects make you feel more drained than others? What could be the underlying energy that connects you to those feelings? Are you sensitive to the energy around you? And have you ever considered how to protect yourself from these subtle spiritual attacks? Now, imagine this scenario: you've had a beloved doll since childhood. It's been with you through every phase of life, and though you've outgrown it, you keep it for sentimental reasons. You don't think much of it, but over the years you've noticed that every time you walk past that doll, there's a slight chill in the air. You brush it off as nothing until one day, you start having vivid nightmares, dreams in which the doll plays a central role. You wake up feeling more drained than you were before you went to sleep. Could this be a coincidence? Perhaps. But it's more likely that this doll, which has been a silent witness to your life, has accumulated so much energy that it can no longer contain it. It begins to affect your energy field, leaving you spiritually vulnerable. You may not realize it at first, but this subtle drain on your energy can have profound consequences over time. When we talk about energy, we're not just speaking about physical exhaustion. Spiritual energy is something deeper, something that sustains us on a mental and emotional level. When this energy is depleted, it becomes harder to stay positive, harder to manifest your desires, and harder to remain spiritually balanced. It's as though a weight is pressing down on you, holding you back from reaching your full potential. This is why it's so important to be mindful of the objects we allow into our spiritual space. Just as we're careful about the people we let into our lives, we must also be cautious about the objects we keep close to us. Dolls, because of their human-like form, can act as powerful conduits for both positive and negative energy. And if we're not careful, we could find ourselves drained by something we thought was entirely innocent. Now that we've discussed the potential dangers of energy-draining dolls, the question becomes, what can you do about it? How can you protect yourself from spiritual objects that no longer serve you? In the first part, we explored the unsettling possibility that dolls, through their accumulation of energy, can become objects that drain your positive spiritual force. Now, let's take a deeper dive into the solutions. How can you reclaim your energy and protect yourself from the spiritual drain caused by these objects? First, we need to acknowledge that the spiritual realm is complex. Objects, including dolls, can accumulate energy over time, especially when they are tied to significant events or emotional experiences. The good news is that just as energy can be drained, it can also be cleansed and renewed. But before we jump into the practical steps, let's take a moment to ask ourselves a fundamental question: what kind of energy do we allow into our lives, knowingly or unknowingly? Let's break this down. Energy exists everywhere, in all things. It's not just confined to the people around us, but also the spaces we inhabit, the objects we own, and even our thoughts. When we feel emotionally drained, it might not always be due to external events like work or relationships. Sometimes, the very objects in our environment contribute to that spiritual exhaustion. So what can we do when a doll, something meant to be a simple, lifeless object, begins to accumulate so much negative energy that it impacts us? This is where spiritual cleansing comes into play. One of the most effective ways to begin reclaiming your energy is through ritualistic cleansing. This might sound mystical or ancient, but in truth, it's a practice that's as old as humanity itself. Every culture, from indigenous tribes to organized religions, has developed methods to cleanse spaces and objects of negative energy. It's not superstition, it's an intentional practice designed to rebalance the energy around us. Let's start with a simple yet powerful cleansing technique: smudging with sage. Sage has been used for centuries in various cultures as a tool for purifying spaces and objects. Its smoke is believed to carry away negative energy, allowing a fresh, positive energy to take its place. To cleanse your doll or any object that you suspect is draining your energy, you can light a bundle of sage, allowing the smoke to encircle the object. As you do this, hold a clear intention in your mind. Focus on releasing any negative energy and inviting positive, protective energy to fill the space. But sage is just one tool. You might also consider using crystals, which are known to absorb, store, and transmute energy. Placing a crystal, such as black tourmaline or clear quartz, near or on the doll can help neutralize any negative spiritual forces. Black tourmaline, in particular, is known for its ability to protect against negative energy, while clear quartz can help amplify your intention to cleanse the space. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, is it really possible that an object like a doll can hold on to energy so intensely that it affects me? The answer is yes, and it's essential to remain open to the subtle ways in which energy works. Often, the most profound spiritual experiences are not the ones we can see or touch. They are the experiences that we feel deep within our intuition. But cleansing the object is only part of the solution. You must also cleanse yourself from the energetic drain you've been experiencing. One of the most effective ways to do this is through meditation and visualization. Close your eyes, take deep, calming breaths, and visualize the energy that has been drained from you returning. Picture it as a bright, golden light that begins at the center of your chest and slowly spreads through your body, filling you with warmth and strength. As you visualize this energy returning, you are actively recharging your spirit. While doing this, it's important to reflect on the underlying question: what do you allow to have power over you? We often unknowingly give objects, situations, or even people more control over our energy than we realize. By becoming more mindful of where we invest our energy, we can begin to reclaim it and direct it toward what truly serves us. Beyond meditation, there's another crucial step: setting boundaries. Just as we set boundaries with people who drain our energy, we must also set spiritual boundaries with objects. If a doll or any object in your home makes you feel uneasy, or if you notice a subtle drain in your energy when you're around it, it might be time to consider removing it from your space. But here's where it gets interesting: simply discarding the object is not always enough. The energy that the object carries may remain, which is why ritualistic cleansing is vital. If you decide that a doll is no longer serving you, or worse, if it's actively draining your energy, you can perform a release ritual. This could be as simple as burying the doll in the earth, allowing the natural elements to absorb and neutralize the energy it has collected. Alternatively, You might choose to give the doll away, passing it on with the intention that it no longer holds any energetic influence over you. But remember, this isn't just about the physical act of getting rid of the doll. It's about the spiritual act of releasing the hold it has over your energy. As you perform this ritual, speak aloud your intention to free yourself from any spiritual attachment the doll may have. Speak it with conviction, knowing that your words carry power in the spiritual realm. Now, let's take this deeper. Ask yourself, have I been holding on to other objects, memories, or even relationships that have a similar draining effect on me? This is not just about dolls, it's about becoming aware of all the subtle ways our energy can be impacted by the world around us. We are constantly in a state of energetic exchange, and it's up to us to determine which exchanges we allow and which we block. As you cleanse your space and yourself, be mindful of the new energy you're inviting in. This is where gratitude plays a significant role. After releasing the negative energy, take time to express gratitude for the positive energy that now surrounds you. Gratitude is one of the highest forms of spiritual vibration, and it can help solidify the protection you've put in place. Another practice that can be highly effective is sound healing. By using instruments like singing bowls, bells, or even your own voice, you can shift the energy in a space. Sound has a unique ability to break up stagnant energy and fill the room with a new, more harmonious frequency. As you play or sing, let the sound resonate throughout the room, imagining it washing away any lingering negativity. But here's something to think about even after all of these cleansing rituals. How do you maintain your energy in a world that constantly seeks to drain it? How do you stay spiritually strong in an environment filled with unseen forces that may not always have your best interests at heart? The answer lies in consistent spiritual practice. Just as we take care of our physical health through exercise and diet, we must also tend to our spiritual health through regular practices like meditation, cleansing, and reflection. It's not enough to cleanse once and expect lasting results. Energy, like water, is constantly flowing. It needs to be directed and maintained. As we come to the end of this part, I want you to reflect on your current spiritual practices. Are they enough to keep you protected and energized? Or is it time to deepen your connection with the spiritual world? Now that we've explored how dolls can drain your energy and how to cleanse yourself and your space, it's time to take an even deeper look at these objects. What if I told you that dolls, while often seen as energy drainers or even cursed, can also be powerful spiritual tools? Yes, the very dolls that we've discussed as potentially harmful can be transformed into protectors and sources of spiritual strength if approached with the right intention and practice. We've already covered the importance of recognizing when a doll's energy has turned negative, but what if we reverse that process? How do we transform a doll from a passive object that merely collects energy into an active force of spiritual protection? To answer this, we must first understand the deeper spiritual history of dolls. For centuries, dolls were used not just as playthings, but as sacred objects in many cultures. In ancient times, dolls were created as representations of spirits, guardians, and even ancestors. They were often placed in homes, temples, or sacred spaces to protect against evil forces or negative energies. These dolls were imbued with intention, whether it was to bring health, protect the household, or offer spiritual guidance. This isn't just myth or legend, it's a reflection of the deep belief that objects, when properly energized, can become powerful tools in the spiritual world. So how can you take a doll that may have once been a source of spiritual drain and turn it into something that actively supports and protects your energy? The key lies in intention and ritual. Let's begin by understanding that energy flows where attention goes. If you view a doll as a threat or as something that can drain you, it will continue to have that impact. But if you shift your perception, setting a clear intention that the doll is now a source of protection and positive energy, you begin to redirect its spiritual purpose. This is where the power of blessing and consecration rituals comes in. You can transform any object, including a doll, into a spiritually protective tool by blessing it with intention. Start by creating a quiet, sacred space for the ritual. Light candles, burn incense, and enter a state of calm focus. Hold the doll in your hands and begin to speak your intention aloud. I consecrate this object to be a source of protection, to guard my energy and space, and to attract only positive spiritual forces. As you speak, visualize a protective energy surrounding the doll. Imagine a bright white or golden light filling the object, sealing it from any negative forces. This light acts as both a barrier and a beacon, repelling anything harmful while attracting positive, uplifting energies. At this point, you might ask, can a simple ritual really transform an object's energy? The answer lies in understanding that intention is everything in the spiritual world. Objects by themselves are neutral. It is our focus, our attention, and our rituals that give them meaning and power. Just as we've discussed how dolls can inadvertently accumulate negative energy, they can also be charged with positive, protective energy when treated with reverence and focus. Once you've completed the consecration, place the doll in a specific location within your home or space. This location should be a place of significance, perhaps near the entrance of your home to act as a spiritual guardian, or in your bedroom to protect your dreams and personal energy. Every time you pass by this doll, remind yourself of the intention you set during the ritual. Reinforce this intention through thoughts, affirmations, and gratitude. Now, you might be wondering, what if I have multiple dolls? Can all of them be protectors? The answer is yes, but it's important not to rush the process. Each doll should be individually blessed and given a unique role in your spiritual practice. One doll might be tasked with guarding the energy of your home, while another could be a personal protector, carrying your intentions for health, peace, or prosperity. Here's another powerful concept to consider: the idea of creating spiritual allies. In many ancient traditions, dolls were not just objects, they were seen as living representations of spiritual allies or guides. You, too, can develop a relationship with the dolls you consecrate, seeing them as spiritual allies who support you on your journey. This may sound strange to our modern minds, but in spiritual practice, creating tangible connections with objects can help strengthen your overall energy field. Take a moment now to reflect. Could you benefit from having a spiritual ally in your home? Is there a particular area of your life where you feel vulnerable, either spiritually, emotionally, or physically? How could a consecrated object like a doll serve as a protective force in that area? These are deep questions, but they lead to profound insights when explored with intention. Let's now move into the practical side of maintaining these protective dolls. Just as we discussed the importance of regular cleansing in the previous part, it's equally important to maintain the positive energy of your consecrated dolls. Once a month, perform a simple cleansing ritual to recharge their spiritual power. You can do this by gently passing them through the smoke of sage or incense, sprinkling them with blessed water, or simply holding them in your hands and reaffirming their purpose with a spoken intention. You may also want to use crystals in conjunction with your dolls to amplify their energy. Placing protective crystals, like amethyst or black obsidian, near your dolls can create a powerful energy grid that enhances their protective qualities. Imagine the doll as a central node in a spiritual network, connected to various tools and symbols that work together to safeguard your space. But let's not stop there. Dolls, once consecrated, can also be used as manifestation tools. This is a more advanced practice, but it's highly effective. By programming a doll with specific intentions, you can use it to attract certain energies or outcomes into your life. For example, if you're seeking more peace in your home, you can charge the doll with the intention of bringing harmony and serenity into your space. Each time you interact with the doll, focus on this intention and visualize the desired outcome manifesting in your life. This brings us to a crucial point. Spiritual protection is not just about defense, it's about creation. When we protect ourselves spiritually, we're not just warding off negative forces, we're actively creating a positive, abundant energy field that supports our growth and well-being. By using dolls as spiritual protectors, you're not only defending yourself from potential energy drains, you're also inviting in the very energies that nourish your spirit. As we move toward the conclusion of this script, let me ask you one final question. How will you begin to transform the objects in your life into spiritual tools? Whether it's a doll, a piece of jewelry, or a family heirloom, every object carries the potential to either drain or enhance your energy. By approaching these objects with mindfulness and intention, you can turn even the simplest item into a powerful spiritual ally. In closing, remember that spirituality is not about fear or superstition. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that everything around us, people, objects, spaces, has an energetic impact on our lives. And with that awareness comes power, the power to choose what we allow into our spiritual field and the power to transform anything that doesn't serve us.